Hello and welcome to a very spooky episode of Batcast 66. My name's Kendall,
I'm Scott.
and today we are taking a break from the chronicles of the 60s Batman and Robin to go into a different series as we normally do on these holiday episodes.
Yeah, and I think we discussed a little bit last year when we talked about the new Scooby-Doo movies, episode 2, with the first ones with Batman and Robin. Like Batman lends himself to like spooky stuff pretty well, and so this was your decision to watch this episode for this year, the year of our Lord 2023. We are looking at season 1, episode 3 of Batman the Animated Series, titled "Nothing to Fear," featuring the villain Scarecrow.
Who does not appear in the 60s Batman show?
Yeah, even though he was an established character from the 40s. But I'll get into the character's history a little bit. But first, I wanted to ask you, why did you want to do this one? Not that I was opposed to it, but
Growing up, my parents separated pretty early in my childhood, but my dad, for whatever reason, had recorded I'm not sure if it was like an afternoon or a weekend block of TV. I think it was a Saturday morning
mhm.
block of television, and he bounced around through like different channels, like recording different shows. And this is the episode he caught of Batman the Animated Series.
Okay.
It was probably the first run of this.
So it was probably like a brand new episode at the time.
Yeah, or maybe it wasn't. Did Batman start airing on weekdays?
So I remember when the show started, and this could just be me misremembering stuff because I think it was like early 90s. So I was like, we were like 5 or 6 or something when it came out. I remember it premiering at prime time because I remember watching the first episode when it first came out on Leather Wings, and I was mostly familiar from like Adam West Show and like the Super Friends and stuff. I didn't watch the Tim Burton Batman movie at the time, but I remember watching this and I was like, it's like I watched it in the way that like kids watched Doctor Who back in the day, where like you're hiding from behind your couch. It scared me so bad, but I was so compelled to keep watching it. Which is, if I was to pick a scary episode of the animated series, that's the one I would pick to talk about. But Scarecrow, makes sense. He's all about fear and what makes you scared and stuff.
Yeah,
You
tis the
know,
season.
yeah. Other than the concepts of fear, this one's not especially Halloweenish, but neither was the Scooby Doo one. Just other than like they deal with like monsters and stuff.
Yeah, I just think like these are fun ones to pull out.
So this has got a bunch of nostalgic connections for you, huh?
Oh yeah, this one I watched a lot.
I guess we should talk a little bit about the Scarecrow, because usually when a new villain shows up in the show, traditionally we talk a little bit about our history of him, but we know Scarecrow's not going to show up in Batman 66. Like, so, I mean, this incarnation's my first introduction to Scarecrow. Uh,
Same.
yeah, this was way before, I read any of the books or anything. And like, I was thinking about it, and like, he's kind of like a C or maybe B tier list Batman villain. And when you're talking about this one, I was like, well, I know he doesn't show up in the 60s show. So I did a little bit of research because I was like, oh, I wonder if he was invented after the fact. But no, his first appearance is Detective Comics 46 in December 1940. Oh, no, sorry. That's the first appearance of Fear Gas, which is Hugo Strange. His first appearance is World's Finest Comics number 3. But like, yeah, he appeared like twice in the 40s and then disappeared and then came back in like the 60s when the show was coming out. So maybe that's why they didn't think to pull from him. But yeah, he started as like a more traditional Batman villain. Apparently his like crime thing was like based on like fairy tales and like we talk and rhyme with things that rhymed with hat. And like
Interesting.
it seems super lame. And then later they leaned more into like the fear thing.
Gotcha. So Hugo Strange was the first one to use fear gas?
Yeah, that eventually became a Scarecrow thing post crisis, or at least the Silver Age. I was reading like the Golden Age era of him when he came back, like one of like when he does start using fear toxin, because he did do that back in the Golden Age. Apparently, like Batman's big fear was that all of his allies like leave him. So since he has no one to turn to, he confides in Catwoman to help him stop Scarecrow. And since this was retconned being like the Earth 2 in the multiverse, this is the one where Batman and Catwoman get together and Huntress is their daughter.
Ah,
So like
interesting.
I don't know if this Scarecrow kind of is what led them to maybe like getting together.
Whoa, what an important villain.
I think they were just making it up as they went. Yeah, like
Going to
all of
see,
the times DC keeps rebooting, like they change like a lot about the Scarecrow.
have you read any comics with Scarecrow? I feel
I'll be
like
honest
he's
with you,
on Halloween.
I don't think I've read any Batman stories that are specifically about the Scarecrow, but I've read lots of stuff with him as part of like an ensemble. And like I loved in Green Lantern that he became part of the Sinestro Corps because I was loving Green Lantern, Jeff Johns' Green Lantern when that was coming out. You know,
Ah,
since that one's about being able to induce fear, like Batman was also like they tried to recruit Batman first, but then it went to Scarecrow eventually, which is both
interesting.
of those are really cool picks. I also love that the Greed one like went to Lex Luthor, but as I also love Lex Luthor as a villain. But yeah, I know there was recently like Fear State. I don't know. I just never. He's a character I never really got into.
Yeah, I never really cared much about him. I
Like
loved this episode. Like I just like it was the one I could watch over and over again. And I think I mean, we get the most iconic line of the animated series in this episode.
yeah, yeah. Well, I figured we would point that out when we got there. But yeah, this is where the I remember being in like every commercial for it. The I am
Yeah,
Avenger.
well, I mean, we can save the suspense.
All right, I'll cut that out.
No, it's fine. But we just save a little of the suspense, just in case people don't know.
Did you ever play Arkham Asylum?
No, not really.
Because he was one of the villains in that, and like his level was really cool because so the whole game takes place like in Arkham and like on its grounds, and depending on like what villain you're dealing with, like when Poison Ivy like kind of becomes important, like it changes the like everything gets overgrown with plants and it changes like a lot of the stuff. But scarecrows you get infected with fear gas, but like so Batman hallucinates everything and becomes this really like trippy like it's very different than everything else like his boss fight.
Oh,
uh,
it's kind of like a nightmare world or something.
yeah, and it's pretty
That's
cool.
cool.
I know he's the main villain of the third one, which is the one I never played, Arkham Knight. You know, you can do. He's cool. I like him as part of the world, but he's not like to me. He's not a villain that I particularly get into. Like he's got a fun parallel, like Batman and him both intentionally like use fear and what they do, but
Yeah, something that gets kind of pointed out here in
yeah,
this episode. I feel like before we move on, we got to bring up Batman Begins.
yeah. I liked him in that.
Yeah, I thought that was like a cool story, but
Yeah,
also, I mean, it was kind of just like it really felt like they were like trying to not repeat the last group of villains with the Scarecrow.
yeah.
Like, did Christopher Nolan, I mean, have you read anything saying like, oh, I really wanted to use the Scarecrow? Like, I feel like it's a weird choice.
I know that I didn't read anything about that, but I know that that was supposed to be the next villain Tim Burton wanted for his Batman movies. And like I can definitely see Tim Burton's Scarecrow like very clearly in my mind's eye.
That'd be pretty fun.
Actually, I think he's going to be the main villain of the Batman 89 sequel comic that's coming out.
Oh, that's right. I think you're right.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. As of recording this, it's only been solicited. I think it's going to start coming out this December, but I'm excited. I'm excited for that just because the last comic series was really good.
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
yeah, I think that's neat. I think they're from solicitations. I think they're setting up Harley Quinn in it as well.
Is Scarecrow like kind of based off Jeff Goldblum?
I don't know. I don't think I haven't personally looked too much into that other than seeing the solicitations and stuff in DC's previews. Was that who Tim Burton wanted to play him?
I don't know. I feel like I've read something somewhere. So I don't I can't say whether it was like Tim Burton wanted to do it or they just retroactively did it for the comic,
Okay.
but something to look out for. That
All
would be
right.
fun. I love Jeff Goldblum.
I can especially at that time period I can see him doing it and I think it could be fun. I mean, we've talked about this on our last Christmas special. I'm not the biggest fan of the Tim Burton Batman movies.
Yeah, because you're
Uh,
a loser.
yeah, but you know, I respect them, and they at least take big swings, and I appreciate that.
Anything else about Scarecrow?
No, we can get into it, but we don't need to answer this right now. But I was thinking about it while watching the episode, and I thought this might be a fun topic to discuss. But like, if you were hit with this fear toxin, what would be like your biggest fear? Like, what you would hallucinate?
Oh, my biggest fear is in this episode.
Also, one of mine is too. I think we'll point them out when we come out because I'm pretty sure I know what yours is.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess with that, let's jump into it.
All right. We open on the cityscape, and there's a bunch of blimps in the sky, and a bank explodes, and these two shadowy robbers come running out. That's just the opening of the show, though. Don't get too excited.
This is the first time I've watched the animated series, especially like an early episode like this in a long time. I have some thoughts about it in general now, but like the first thing that sticks out to me is like, man, this still looks so good. The art style is so striking.
The opening is
It's so
so
good.
like I was like watching it like kind of back when we first started Batcast 66, and it was like I would never skip that opening. It's
I
so
never do. Yeah.
maybe if you're binging, you skip it. I don't know. Sometimes you don't though.
Yeah.
Great opening. Another thing I love about the animated series is the title cards.
Yeah. The title cards are cool. I've always loved them.
Yeah, they're always like really fun. This one is just like kind of like a hazy, almost like painting of a scarecrow, just like with an orange backdrop. Yeah. Anyway, oh, I didn't see who wrote or directed or
Oh,
anything.
I got it pulled up here. You know what says this production number 3, but broadcast order was broadcasted episode 10.
Interesting.
Interesting. Original air date was September 15th, 1992. Written by Henry T. Gilroy and Sean Catherine Derrick. Directed by Boyd Kirkland. And Scarecrow, we should point out, was voiced by Henry Pollock II. And then I know later when it becomes the new Batman Adventures, he's voiced by Jeffrey Combs. And Robert Englund did him somewhere. I don't remember where, which is really cool because that's Freddy Krueger.
All right, Henry Pollock II. Let's see what else this dude's been in. A lot of live action things. Oh, he was in Mighty Max. Do you remember Mighty Max?
I remember Mighty Max. We had some. My brother and I had some of the toys because there was those little. They were the boy Polly Pocket, so they were like. We had like one that was like a dragon skull, and you open it up and there's like a cave like adventure inside you can play with.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was just in one episode, but I think Mighty Max is cool. Maybe next time we'll do Mighty Max cast. He plays a character called Wild Shark in like an 80s Superman cartoon.
I mean, that sounds cool.
Yeah, I wonder what Wild Shark's deal is. He was in the new Scooby-Doo mysteries and
Oh yeah, wasn't he in a Scooby Doo movie recently? Like that didn't have Batman in it. You were telling me about it.
oh, Scarecrow the character? Yes.
Yeah,
Not this actor, but
yeah.
Scarecrow the
Sorry, that
character.
just reminded me about that.
Yeah, it was like with like Elvira and Bill Nye the Science Guy. It was insane.
Isn't it? It's Halloween themed. Isn't it like Trick or Treat Scooby Doo or something silly like that?
Oh, maybe that's next year's movie.
Yeah, we should definitely hang on to that one because I haven't seen it, and the way you described it, it sounded awesome.
It's crazy. Yeah, this dude's in a bunch of weird stuff, but nothing. This I feel like is his most notable role, which is wild. Anyway, yeah. Where do we open? The college? It just got robbed.
Well, or it's in the middle of getting robbed.
No, because like Bruce Wayne and Summer Gleason are there. Like it's like Wayne Industries got robbed or something.
Was it? I thought that it was just because I know Bruce Wayne just happened to be around.
Yeah, and this dude, Dr. Long, is like a fucking asshole.
Yeah, talking about how Bruce's parents would be ashamed of him because he
Yeah.
sees him as like a frivolous playboy.
So yeah, there was just like a robbery, and somehow Wayne Industries was connected. Sorry, we don't have the best notes on that, neither one of us. So
I'll be
yeah,
honest with you. I watched it last night and I'm forgetting, like, I forget the details already.
oh wow. Bruce Wayne's hanging out, and Summer Gleason, who's the reporter in the animated series. I feel like she might disappear once the art style changes, but she's featured pretty heavily in the early episodes.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I kind of forgot about her until watching this. I was like, oh yeah, she was in a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, she's there for a lot of it.
So I know with some of the TV shows, when there were like movies were coming out at the same time, there was like a no compete clause. Because in doing my research, like the Scarecrow was supposed to be in the show The Batman, but because he was showing up in the Batman Begins, they weren't allowed to use him. So they used Hugo Strange instead. I'm wondering, like, is she supposed to be like Vicky Vale?
I
But
feel
like
like that would be a weird I mean, she's definitely like a Vicky Vale stand-in because in the comics, Vicky Vale's a redhead and Summer
yeah,
Gleason's a redhead, or like a weird orange haired color in this.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I feel like she would be a weird one to have a non-complete compete clause
Yeah.
for. We have the Joker there.
Yeah, I was gonna say because obviously they use the Joker and like the
And,
and other characters.
and
So
it's like they're using the theme song or like a remixed version of it.
it's the only thing I can think of. Like why isn't she Vicky Vale?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe they didn't want to have the romance angle with Bruce Wayne.
I guess.
Like Summer Gleason isn't trying to make out with Bruce Wayne ever. She's just like there to get her story. So anyway, we're cutting between Summer Gleason interviewing this guy, Dr. Long. He kind of looks like, I don't know if Colonel Sanders was bald.
I also thought he looked like Colonel Sanders. So that was my first thought when I saw
Yeah.
him.
And we cut between that and this helicopter that's being flown. You don't see his face for a minute, but it's being flown by the Scarecrow. And my first thought is like, this guy's like a master chemist and a helicopter pilot.
And a psychologist.
Like, it's not impossible, but dang, like, that's a lot of talent.
There's a lot of weird sci-fi stuff in this world that kind of goes unsaid. Maybe helicopters are a lot like easier to fly than our
Maybe.
world.
So, yeah, as we alluded to, Dr. Long, like, approaches Bruce Wayne and is just like, I guess Dr. Long is kind of pissed off because like his his shit got jacked. But
Yeah.
like he just goes up to Bruce Wayne and he's like, I'm glad that your father's dead because if he was alive to see you, he would be so disappointed.
That kind of came a little harsh, but like I feel like because wasn't he was getting interviewed by Summer Gleason, was it? And then Bruce Wayne happened to wander into the elevator with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he was like annoyed from whatever that was, and then Bruce Wayne kind of comes in and sucks the air out of the room. And like I don't
Yeah.
know, I feel like he was just in a bad spot and just kind of not trying to excuse what he said. I'm just trying to say I understand what he said.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that
Whatever.
was
He's
pretty
a
messed up.
dickhead.
Bruce was like a little kid and his parents are murdered in front of him. Like
Fuck Dr.
obviously obviously he's gonna have mental health issues.
Dr. Long like gets off the elevator and Summer Gleason goes chasing him. And Bruce Wayne is like heading towards the lobby and he's looking out the back of the elevator. Like it's one of those elevators you see all the time in like media where it's like on the side of a building and it's just like glass facing the the cityscape.
Now to
Um,
be fair, those elevators do exist, but I know exactly what you mean. They're in like every movie.
they're in every movie, and
It's
I've
because
never been on
they're
one
nice and cinematic.
for sure.
Like it's cool in this that Batman sees a robbery happen and then runs out and becomes Batman.
But my thing is like, okay, of all the people who see this robbery going down, of course it's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Um,
I will say so when I watched this episode in preparation for this, I did watch some other episodes of Batman the Animated Series, and it has a lot more in common with like the 66 show than I think people realize or will admit to themselves.
oh
There's
yeah.
there's a lot of goofy elements and like kind of suspension of disbelief stuff. Because people think about the show being like really dark and serious.
Yeah.
Like
I
it's
mean, and that's
not so much this episode of being on display, but there's definitely episodes with the more wacky villains where like Joker has like all kinds of crazy contraptions and stuff that like don't make any sense. Like if this was a real world, quote
yeah.
unquote.
And I think like people like to remember this show as like being like really dark because like for whatever reason people haven't gotten over associating like dark with like quality.
Yeah.
So yeah, this show is like visually very like dark, but it's not like like Batman doesn't punch people in it.
Yeah, and there's like levity and like it's fun. It's got a lot of fun elements.
For
But like
sure.
I mean, to be fair, when this came out, this was very dark compared to everything we've gotten so like at the time,
Yeah.
and like especially for like Batman media for children.
But I think
So
it exists in people's memory as
yeah,
like something that it's not.
I'm just saying like if you haven't really watched it critically since you were a kid, I understand why that's how you would remember it. And like
So,
I think it's got a fun mix of all the stuff that makes Batman great.
oh, definitely. So yeah, we get a we cut inside of this university and for whatever reason there's only this one guard in the whole place, I guess,
Yeah.
because the roof explodes and this guy's reading Tiny Toon Adventures
I
comic books.
I did notice that and thought that was awesome.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
pretty
remember
sure
that from when I was a kid, but like yeah.
people who worked on this show, I think, worked on Tiny Toons too.
And I know they were both Warner Brothers like animation productions.
Yes. This guy gets blown out of his chair. Nobody else comes running to help. It's
Yeah.
just him against the villains of the episode. So we got Scarecrow, of course, but we got my personal favorite goons,
They were
Nigel
great.
and Anthony. They're so good.
I was surprised how much personality and like screen time they gave the goons.
Oh, yeah. They had a lot to say.
Yeah. Like they were almost equal like equal to the Scarecrow.
Yeah, they were amazing. Definitely like, yeah, like maybe as much importance as like the like evil girl characters of the 66 show.
Yeah, they at least get as much screen time as the average mall does.
We get our first instance of the fear toxin in action. Yeah, right off the bat, like this is my phobia for sure.
Yeah, I saw this as like, oh, this is Kendall's thing. I know you got arachnophobia.
Now, people say they have arachnophobia, but like there's like a fear of spiders, and then there's like a terror of spiders. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I'm even made uncomfortable by like animated depictions of them, but the spiders in this show are like little red diamonds with four legs. They're like nothing like a spider. So I was
Yeah.
grateful.
Yeah. I know you don't even like Spider-Man, you know.
Hey, I love
I
Spider-Man.
know, I'm just joking. I actually know someone who's very arachnophobic and refuses to do Spider-Man media because they will
You
probably show the spider bite him.
I know that this part is for the kids at home,
Yeah.
but after this guy is like gassed and like I guess passes out,
Yeah.
Scarecrow's goons are like, "Oh, what did you do to him?" And it's just like you're like taking a lot of risks with this guy and you don't even know his deal.
Yeah. I know because he has to explain what arachnophobia is and stuff too. And like, it's as far as expository dialogue and like superhero things, it's fine because it doesn't take up a lot of time.
Yeah, it's just like I think it's charming because like
Yeah.
Anthony and Nigel are idiots, but like it's like, come on, guys, you got to get your act together. Scarecrow asks Nigel to stand guard.
He's the smaller one, right?
He's like the taller but skinnier one.
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah. He's the skinnier one. Yeah.
And Nigel, he's ready for anything, he says. So they start like robbing the cash reserves of the college.
Yeah, they have like a big. I think they said they're at the bank, but I think they are in whatever the like stealing whatever. Yeah, like they're stealing from like their vault or something. It's very weird because it's clearly like a bank vault.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
But he's just like grab whatever you can and then we burn the rest. And again, him not knowing what the plan is, he's like, what? He's like, it's about sending a message, kind of like in The Dark Knight / The Long Halloween, because that's what that scene's from, where they burn all the money.
I don't recall. What was the plot there?
So in the Long Halloween, it's they find all of the like criminal organization money in a warehouse, and they end up burning it. But then it's reappropriated in the Dark Knight. The Joker has all of the organized crime like syndicate money, and then
Sorry, I was thinking Batman Begins. Gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, well, it makes sense you think about Batman Begins because there's scarecrows in that. But yeah, where he's like burning it, and it's like it's not about the money; it's about sending a message. Just saying, like, yeah, he's not doing all of his crazy stuff for money. He's just doing it because that's what he does. Obviously, a little
It's
bit
what he
different in
does.
this, but like he wants. It's eventually revealed like he really just wants to hurt this college and their programs and stuff as revenge.
Yeah. As we expect, Batman busts in.
Mm-hmm.
We hear from off screen Nigel yelling, "Boss, the Batman has got me!" I fucking love this guy. I love
I
that.
like that the lookout actually did lookout stuff.
That's
It's like, oh,
true.
Batman's here, and that alerted them so they could make their move.
So Batman busts in and he's already wearing a gas mask.
Mm-hmm.
Did they talk about gas in the opening scene? I thought that was like kind of convenient.
So they didn't. My thought in the moment was either he saw that the guard was gassed, or because there's a fire, he did it just like as a smoke thing.
Well, the fire didn't start yet.
Didn't it start?
The fire starts like during this tussle.
All right, because I know he's pouring gas and stuff to start the fire before Batman
Yeah.
shows up.
So Batman shows up. I'd say seeing the guard being gassed is a good excuse.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Because this is implied it's his first appearance with Scarecrow. I'm pretty
Yes.
sure it's out and out stated that because he finds out who he is eventually.
Well, Scarecrow is prepared for like a gas mask because he has like a poison dart gun thing.
Yeah, he's got like a way to inject it straight into your bloodstream.
The gas. I guess the gas is like less potent. Are we
That's
meant to
my
believe?
that's my assumption. Yeah, which makes sense since it would like spread out.
Because like this not only like brings about fear in Batman, but it makes him physically weak,
Yeah,
which we see later that the gas does not have that.
yeah. It's probably harder to get out of your system too because you can't just keep breathing in like you can keep breathing in like good air and things.
Like you were saying, Anthony and Scarecrow poured gas everywhere, and Batman like knocks into one of them and makes them drop a flare. So yeah, the bad guys get away, and Batman's like in this fire, and he sees a vision of his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And his dad just says the same thing Dr. Long says, but like, Bruce is a failure.
Yeah, before that, didn't Scarecrow say something to him? It was like, oh, I wonder what the Batman's afraid of, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you don't know him as Bruce Wayne, you're going to assume it's some sort of horrific like monster or something, but it's just like disappointing his parents. Which I think is an interesting take, especially for like a children's show, for like what your hero would be afraid of.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if this is the first like mention of Batman's parents in the animated series.
I think it would be because this it was episode 3, even though it was premiered as episode 10. I it's been a while since I watched on Leather Wings. I don't know if they mention it in that.
I think this is a good episode to like introduce that concept.
Yeah, because you can explore it in an interesting way. Like this is more interesting than just like my parents were shot, so I fight crime. Because if I remember correctly, it ends with him at their grave.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, obviously, and they mentioned that if your parents were alive, so like they're clearly mentioned that they're dead at during the episode.
Yeah. We get like a commercial cliffhanger here. Like, I
Yeah,
thought it was like a little silly because like it's like the dad, Thomas Wayne is just like, Bruce, your disappointment, and like the music swells and then it cuts to commercial. And just like I get that he's also surrounded by like a big ass fire, but
yeah,
like him being a disappointment like seems to be like the big like emotional thing that's
yeah,
supposed to like hook kids long enough through the commercial break.
yeah. Yeah. Whereas like a fire is the traditional like Batman. How's Bruce Wayne gonna get the Penguin did that in 66, so he's gonna throw him into a furnace.
Yeah.
But in terms of like that, like, well, he should be more afraid of the fire. That's a real thing. But like it got me thinking like how fears are like like, and phobias specifically are specifically irrational. I have many phobias because I'm an extremely like debilitatingly anxious person. And one of mine like makes no sense. I hate frogs the way people hate spiders. They're so
Whoa.
gross. I hate when they're around. I don't want to look at them. Like I really, they are like the way like you are with spiders. And like
But
that's extremely irrational. I get why you'd be afraid, like people would be afraid of spiders. They can be poisonous and bite you. Like it's just, but it's an irrational thing, you know. It's just I don't know why I have it. It's just the way I've always been.
do the punk frogs make you uncomfortable?
Don't especially like them, but they're not in enough stuff that they bother me.
Interesting. Cool. I didn't know that about you, and I've known you forever.
Yeah, it's not something I need to talk about all the time. But that said, if I was hit with a fear gas, I don't think my fear would be them like hopping all over me, although I wouldn't like that. The thing that I think fear gas would affect me with is later in this episode. Actually, I think since the first one we got to see was the arachnophobia one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I think the last one we see that's not like related to Batman and Scarecrow is mine.
Dr. Long's?
No, oh, I will get to it when we get to it. Now I don't remember
Okay. Is
because I
it
know the last one is like Scarecrow gets a taste of his own medicine. Like it's not that because I'm not scared of Batman,
gotcha?
but
All right. Well, we'll get to it.
yeah,
All right. We come back from commercial. The sprinklers go off. The fire is like fine. Even though they had gasoline, I think it would be harder to put those flames out. This scene right here is Kendall's first introduction to Harvey Bullock.
yeah. I'm pretty sure he's in the first episode. I don't think it's his first appearance in the show,
But
but
this is
yeah,
my first,
yeah.
or at least
I
my first memory.
I love Harvey Bullock. He was always one
I
of my favorite characters.
I love him so much.
I like that in this series, he's a cop that doesn't like Batman, but is still like a good cop. I know in like the comics and stuff, they make him like a bad guy sometimes.
Isn't he like also in like the Nolan series as like a crooked cop?
There's a crooked cop in Batman Begins that like reminds me of him. I don't, it's been a while since I watched that. I don't think it is him, but that's the swear to me scene. Like Batman's got him hanging off a roof.
Yeah, and that's like the first time we get that stupid voice.
Yeah, that's by far the
Swear
worst
to
part.
me.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun to do and make fun of, but it's really bad.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Bullock so much.
But yeah, I appreciate that, like, in the show, like, she's not in this, but like Renee Montoya, I appreciate that they took some time to flesh out the GCPD a bit. And he's an early consistent example of that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's way more interesting than like O'Hara is.
Yeah.
Like O'Hara is funny sometimes. Bullock is funny more
All the time.
often,
Yeah.
but also like I feel like there are episodes where he's like to be taken seriously.
And he's kind of right.
Yeah.
Like
No,
in this first scene, he's like Batman's stealing evidence and like he's getting in the way of our investigation. Like he's not wrong.
there is what's this voice actor's name? I know he's the guy who does Homer Simpson.
Oh, Dan Castellaneta.
Yeah.
Is he done Harvey Bullock?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. I'm so sure. Let's just
No,
double check.
now I need to know.
Harvey Bullock voice actor. Oh, nope, I'm a liar.
Okay. Who does his voice?
Robert Costanzo.
Well, he's got a similar last name.
Anyway, this guy, I feel like this is the first time he's ever like, I don't know, the way he delivers this line, what do you got there, vigilante? It's
Yeah.
like he doesn't know the meaning of the word vigilante.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you got there, vigilante? Like vigilante is like a thing Batman is holding in his hands or something.
Yeah. Do you want me to blow your mind about this voice actor real quick? So he's every non-movie version of
Danny
Phil,
DeVito.
like every Danny DeVito character. So he's like Phil in everything but Hercules the movie.
Can you insert a soundbite of climb up on the Hydra's back?
Oh my god. I've heard that more times than I've heard him say anything as Harvey Bullock in like 5 million episodes of the show.
Climb up on the Hydra's back.
Uh,
Uh, yeah.
he's also some sort of cheese in OK KO Let's Be Heroes.
Oh yeah.
I know
He's
that's a show
great.
you like.
It's a great show.
I've never seen it.
Discovery Warner Brothers buried for a tax write-off.
Yep, great.
Yep. That's art, baby. So yeah, Batman like gets away from Bullock, but Bullock is like convinced he helped the Scarecrow escape. Even though the Tiny Toons Adventures reading security guards like Batman saved the day.
Yeah,
So yeah, we see that that character's already recovered pretty much.
yeah. At
But
least enough that like he. But yeah, and he also has like a bunch of recollection and stuff back. So I don't know.
Batman is kind of suffering the effects of the fear toxin the whole episode.
Yeah, I think Scarecrow mentions it's like time activated, like later.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah, after this, we cut to him back at the Batcave, right?
Well, no, first we get the Scarecrow's origin
Oh,
story.
that's right. I
Because
didn't know
the
if that.
goons are like, hey, why do you hate the university so much? These
I
goons
know.
who ask zero questions before embarking on this crime spree. Um, and yeah, we get the origin of the Scarecrow, where he just admits that he was like always a psychopath.
Yeah, which is very funny.
He's like, oh yeah, when I was little, I used to chase people with snakes in my hands.
I loved making people afraid. And then when I became an adult, I started torturing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, people, animals, I don't care as long as they're afraid.
Yeah. And then yeah, he's got like rooms where he's torturing people, and they're like, and then they took away my funding and called me crazy.
And all these guys have to say, like, I feel like it's Anthony. He's like, wow, he really is a professor.
Yeah,
Something.
that's really funny. Like that was their takeaway.
Yeah. So we cut to the Bat Cave. I really like this scene. Um,
Yeah.
First off, Batman is so, or Bruce Wayne is so afraid he like can't shave anymore.
Yeah.
He's just like wearing a bathrobe, has like stubble all over his face.
He looks like he's sick, like he's sweating and yeah, like I say, he's like physically weakened.
Yeah, so I guess it tracks. I fucking love Alfred.
Is there any version of Alfred that's not great?
Yeah, this one's pretty good. He's like way sassier in this than he is in the 60s show, that's for sure.
Yeah, but he's definitely got his good moments in the 60s show.
For sure.
And he gets involved in the plots more often than this Alfred does.
Yes. But yeah, this Alfred, he's like hanging up the Batman cowl. He's like, oh, a guy who dresses in a costume running around at night scaring people. What will they think of next? Like, and like that's kind of the big like comparison drawn between like Batman and Scarecrow in this episode.
Yeah, like I said, they have interesting parallels you can do stuff with. And I think this episode plays with it a little bit.
I just thought that was like funny, him being kind of sassy. And then Bruce admits, like, I saw my father. He was like disappointed in me. And then Alfred changes from like sassy to supportive. He's like, oh, well, like, if your dad was alive, I know he would be proud of you because I'm like very proud of you.
I know that sometime over the course of like Batman existing, Alfred went from like his butler to more of like a father type figure. I'm sure it happened in the comics before that, but I know that this show like leans into that more. Like that's not really a thing in 66.
Yeah, in 66, Alfred is very much a guy who works for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. And like I think they get along, and obviously he's like a part of the whole thing. Like it's not like I know that that version of Bruce Wayne is very fond of Alfred, but
Yeah, this it's more of like a parental relationship, and they kind of take jabs at each other more often. I
yeah.
love their relationship in this
I
show.
love that they both will take jabs at each other in like a fun way.
Yeah.
I like
Um,
that this Batman, even though he's more serious than like other Batmans before that, he's still got some fun in him. Like It's not, again, not on display much in this episode since, he's suffering with like a fear toxin. But I do know he does make fun about, like, he will make jokes and stuff from time to time.
Yes. And I feel like Kevin Conroy, he was so good.
Oh, man, I was thinking about that watching this. Is like, I can't imagine a better Batman voice actor. I especially love what they did in the earlier seasons before it became the new Batman Adventures. I know you and I have talked about this over the years. I love that his Bruce Wayne and Batman have different voices.
Well, so if it's not really on display so much in this episode because like his interactions with Alfred are like under the influence of the fear toxin. If
Yeah.
you watch this show, especially in the first season, I feel like I can pick out three voices. You
Oh,
have
really?
Bruce Wayne, you have
Yeah.
Batman, and then like specifically in scenes set in the Batcave where it's just Bruce and Alfred, there's like a third voice that
So,
like is the cadence of Bruce Wayne, but with the like tone of Batman.
so you think that's like Bruce Wayne being actually himself and not having the persona of Batman or Bruce Wayne on?
Yes.
All right, that's really cool. I've never noticed that, but now that you point out, I think I definitely get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, like no one did, and like I feel like no one really talks about it either. Everyone's like, oh, he's so smart. He has two different voices, but like, no, there's
He has
three
three.
voices, and it's like,
He's
and
got two
that's the
fake
thing,
voices. Yeah.
yes. And that's a thing that I think really gets lost in, especially in like the Justice League show.
Yeah, because he's just Batman's voice all the time.
Yeah.
I will say there's a YouTuber I watch called Matt Baum, Baume, that's his last name. He does a lot of like media stuff focusing on like gay characters or gay actors and stuff throughout the years. And he did, I think it was in production before Kevin Conroy died, but it came out about that time about Kevin Conroy's like career and everything. And it's really good because he was a closeted gay actor. Like I know that until he wrote a story about his life in a Batman anthology book, like comic book. That's like kind of when he like came out to like the public. But it's really a really good video and has lots of interviews with Kevin Conroy talking about his philosophy for Batman, why he picked this one, because he was trying to be like a real serious actor, but he couldn't make it. And then this kind of came along and it was seen as like just a stupid kids thing. But like he was able to like see himself in the character, both as Bruce Wayne and as Batman, because as like a gay person, he had to put on like a false face. It's really good, and his the way he like understands Batman on like a level that I think not a lot of even Batman fans understand him. Not saying like we're
That's
even like you and I are even experts on Batman, but like it's really good watch and it's a really good video, and I recommend people check it out.
I love that. That's great. I mean, I
But
don't love that Kevin Conroy had to be in the closet
yeah,
for as long as he was, but
but like he really loved being Batman for people, like he loved meeting people like fans and cons and stuff.
that's awesome.
Yeah, that makes me happy.
He's so good. I kind of wish that that third voice was on display here.
Yeah,
Um, but I'm sure at some point in the run of this podcast, we'll do another animated series episode and maybe we'll catch it.
I know. Off just talking about like ideas for like stuff to talk about on the show. We have talked about a couple of Batman the animated series episodes that might be worth bringing up every once in a while. So because
Cool.
it's as much as we love Batman 66, like this is more the show I definitely would say I grew up on, even though I did watch this other show a lot as a kid.
Yeah, 66 was hard for me to catch, and this was definitely
Yeah.
the Batman of
It was we were specifically the target demographic for the show when it was coming out.
yeah, for sure. All right. So, one thing we forgot to mention in the previous scene where the Scarecrow's revealing his secret origin as a child lunatic psychopath. One of the goons is reading a newspaper and it says University Charity Ball tonight on the front page.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, after the scene in the Batcave, we cut there. It seems like it's a good time. I don't know. But then the Golden Age Sandman robs the place.
Yeah. I thought about that too because the Golden Age Sandman just had a new book come out like this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like it's funny because it's just, I mean, his mask is just a gas mask.
It's a gas mask, but also isn't he wearing like a
He's got like a
green
trench
suit or
coat and stuff.
something?
He's got
I
a
feel
trench
like
coat.
he like looks a lot like these dudes. Like
Yeah, I thought the same thing, but that's just because like he's a very pulpy kind of supervillain, or not supervillain, like hero design. And this the Art Deco style of this like kind of leans into those kinds of like incidental characters designs, because these are just the clothes they were wearing before they just put a gas mask on.
true. Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, oh yeah, Sandman. So yeah, they're robbing the joint. Scarecrow comes in, he's gassing people.
Yeah, everyone's hallucinating. It reminded me of I don't remember the episode's name. It was the Riddler like silent film one where they go to the party and like he drugs everybody and they all go insane.
He gets so you don't have Dr. Long's fear of like being a skeleton.
No, I understand that I have a skeleton inside me.
Yeah. Somehow Scarecrow, I wonder if that's you could headcanon that was like revealed to Jonathan Crane in their shared past.
Yeah, perhaps.
But he like drugs Dr. Long and like knows that his fear is like death or something. And Dr. Long like looks at his hands and they're skeleton hands and he starts losing his mind. Batman shows up. Scarecrow's like, what the hell? Like, how are you still moving around? How are you doing this?
Yeah.
Um,
I think he sees Batman's under the effects of it again. And he mentioned something about being like time release fear toxin.
Scarecrow gasses some more people, and this lady just is like freaking out, like thinks that Batman is a giant bat and just starts like beating his ass with her purse.
Yeah, this is why it made me think about it, because all of a sudden everyone attacks Batman.
Yeah, so
No, I
this is
understand that a fear response is fight or flight, and this is the fight part of it. I would run away from a giant Batman. Like, I would not attack that.
well, TJ, there's this one guy, they like the camera focuses on him, and he's like so pissed that
Yeah.
Batman is like there. He just like his hair's all crazy, and he's just like has his fist clenched in the air, and he like charges Batman, and everyone jumps him. He's my favorite character in the franchise.
Yeah, mine too. Do you think he's the animated series version of Bob?
Wait, Bob who?
Like from the 89?
Oh, yep, for sure.
He's your number one guy.
He's my number one guy.
Yeah.
Oh God, Bob is the best character in
We'll
the
definitely talk about Batman 89 at some point.
yeah. Scarecrow gets away on a blimp. This
Yeah.
world, it's like one of the things of this version of Batman.
And that's one of the things I really like about this. Like, it's got this weird timeless feel to it because of all the like artistic decisions they made. Because nobody has there's no police blimps and stuff in real life. But like the TVs are black and white, but like they've got like kind of futuristic technology and things. Like, I don't know, it's cool.
We get a pretty funny scene that feels like it could have been in the 66 show. Where like Scarecrow's like, we got everything we wanted. We got Long. Batman, we beat him. And then Anthony like interjects. He's like, oh yeah, well then who's that? And it's just like Batman is like, I don't know, swinging to the top of or climbing up the side of the blimp or something crazy.
Yeah, he like grappled the side of it and is getting up there.
And at this point, Scarecrow's just like, the fear toxin will take care of it.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm like, my dude, he's been toxined up for like almost 24 hours now.
Well,
like,
at this point, doesn't Batman have another vision of his father, like when he's hanging off this thing?
well,
That's
he's just about to.
Okay, because I know that's when he overcomes it.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I feel like at this point, you got these dudes with machine guns. Just be like, yo, just fucking pick them off.
Yeah.
Let him drop to the even if the gun doesn't kill him, he's gonna fall to the ground.
Yeah.
And even if that somehow doesn't kill him, you'll get away. But like Scarecrow's just like, the toxin's gonna finish him off.
Maybe he wants the toxin too because it's a fear thing. Like he's getting off on it, you know?
Damn, you're right. Thank you for fixing that for me.
Yeah.
As you were saying, he gets another vision of his father, who's like the devil / a skeleton.
Talking about how much he hates him and how much he's disappointed in him and what a failure he is.
Yeah. And this is where we get the line.
Yeah, because the idea is he's overcoming his fears. He knows it's irrational. Like he knows that's not true. And he has to like kind of declare it to himself and the audience that he's not. And if you want to take it from there.
Me? All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, first off, he's like, I know you're not my father, and I know I'm not a disgrace. And then we get the line, I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman.
Which I think is kind of a silly line, a series of lines. I never got into that the way people do.
Yeah,
Like when the trailer for the Batman came out and he's like, I'm vengeance. I'm like, that's so stupid to just say to somebody.
it is very corny, but
Yeah.
is such a
It's a good moment in this episode, but because it's like was using like I feel like because it was using like all of the marketing for this, like it's become like this synonymous like Batman thing with like the general public, and I don't think it's that cool
yeah, it has a
for
lot of
that stuff.
staying power.
Especially like I know they use it in the Batman because like he starts off for vengeance, but like realizes like it's a path of destruction. He needs to be something more. But that's a character arc for that movie. So
I'd
it's at least a
still
jumping off point. It's not just like I'm saying this to be cool. Because they make fun of him in that, like Penguin calls him vengeance to rise. Oh, look, hey, it's vengeance. Because he tells people I am vengeance and that. So I appreciated that they made fun of that because I thought that was very stupid in the first trailer. I was not excited for the Batman.
I still need to watch it.
It's good. It's long, but
Anyway,
it's good.
Batman starts swinging himself back up to the cabin of the helm, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. The bridge, maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense
I
too.
don't know what you call it in a dirigible, but like the control center of it.
Yeah. He kicks through the glass, which I feel like shouldn't be a thing a man
Yeah,
can do.
yeah, for something that flies. Yeah,
But that's what he does. I guess he's just that. I mean, I can suspend my disbelief.
yeah, I can. I'm
All
already
this
bought
other
in.
shit has happened, I
Yeah,
guess.
I that's the least of my my hangups at this point.
Yeah, Nigel gets hit with some of the fear gas, and
And this
his
is
fear. This is
I'm
your
in,
fear?
I'm intensely claustrophobic.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not really play. I get why you would say claustrophobia.
All right, so I know it's like he's like in a jail cell and it's getting tighter around him, but he's like he says things like the walls are closing in. Like I think it's not necessarily like a jail cell. Like it's just I can't like when we were like I was a kid in school, like I'd freak out if our desks were too close together and I couldn't
Oh.
articulate why to people. Like I was trying to think of the word contained when I was like a kid, but I would say contented, and that's obviously the opposite of what I meant. But like I used to freak out and I hate tight spaces.
Damn.
It's one of my main things. I don't like heights. I don't like a lot of stuff. And I think in a lot of it also kind of stems down to like not having control, if that makes any
Ah,
sense.
yeah, that makes sense.
So that's one of my big things. I think that's what would get to me the most. I would like have a panic. Like I was thinking like that would send me most into a panic attack.
Wait a minute, Scott. Weren't
Yeah.
you like a crow gunk main?
I never used crow gunk.
Okay. I don't know why I thought you did.
No, I don't like crow gunk.
Okay, gotcha. So sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. We can talk about our history with Pokemon later in a different episode.
Yeah, I just wanted to check in with that
No, I didn't like crow gunk.
because I obviously don't use any of the spider Pokemon.
I kind of like Poliwag, but that's the closest I get to liking the frog Pokemon. I hate Greninja and stuff. So
Oh wow.
also because it's
Poliwag
yeah,
isn't
he's a
it's not a
tadpole.
frog to me.
He's a
I mean, he's
tadpole. He turns
barely
into a
a tad.
frog.
He's like a
Yeah.
circle guy with a tail.
Well, then you see what he's actually based off of, and it's the see-through tadpole. So you see its guts, which is where the circle comes from.
Oh, weird.
Awful. Yeah. I think it's I don't know if it's from growing up between two man-made lakes, but like my house is always like surrounded by frogs. I don't know. I've always hated them.
Whoa.
Anyway, that but I think a box being like putting something it's like I if it's that intense, like I would feel like I couldn't get away from it. If it was frog stuff or other like monsters coming at me, I would feel like I could get away from it. Whereas like this would be much more debilitating for me because like I think I'm stuck and not be able to move, and then like I wouldn't actually be able to run in real life, so you'd be able to just murder me real easy. But
Huh.
that would be what happened to me if I get hit with fear gas. And
Word.
it's a common one, which is so I'm not surprised it showed up in this. Like I wouldn't be surprised if some person was like thought he was falling forever. You know, that's another real common fear is falling.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll get that in a different Scarecrow episode if we ever get.
Yeah,
Speaking of Scarecrow, he gets
yeah,
away with like a different set of like ace piloting skills.
yeah. It doesn't it detach like the turtle blimp, and he's got like a little glider, like a little White
Yeah.
Brothers glider.
And he's just like flying it through like the skyscrapers and he like gets away.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
This guy can do everything. Batman saves what's his name?
Dr. Long.
Dr. Long. And I'm just like, I hope Dr. Long like changes his ways and stops being such a dick to people.
I don't know anything about this would make him change his ways about that though.
Just like being grateful to be alive or something. I don't know.
This isn't a Saw movie.
Fuck Dr. Long. Yeah. We cut to Batman driving down the street and he's trying to like do some research.
Yeah, I think his analysis from like a piece of Scarecrow's fabric he tore off in the beginning of the episode like comes back, right?
Yeah. So it's like, oh, only like 4 companies make this material. And we get two fun allusions to
Yeah,
like other PC media.
I picked up on one of them. I don't know what the second one is, but like what the last one they mentioned is Star Labs, which is from Superman. And this is the first time I noticed that. I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
This is
First,
obviously before they made the Superman like sister series, you know?
yeah, I think this is probably like the first mention of Star Labs in the DC animated universe.
Which I've been on the record saying many times it's my favorite version of DC, including the comic books. So
I mean, it is
yeah,
really good.
yeah.
Although it does have I don't know, what's that show? Static Shock, isn't
Static
that part
Shock.
of it? And
Yeah,
this
Static's all right.
Static Shock. Anyway,
I never watched
we
Static.
also get like it's not called Axis Chemicals, but it's Axis like Industries or something.
Oh, is it that? But they didn't want to use Ace Chemicals,
Well,
which is Axis. Yeah,
in the Tim Burton movie, it's Axis Chemicals, not Ace Chemicals.
the Tim Burton movie. Oh yeah. It's Axis. I thought it was Ace still.
No, it's Axis
I
Chemicals.
trust you. You watched that movie more than I did, but like I always thought like it was called Ace Chemicals because the Joker. They're both card references.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why they changed it, but
I mean that's fun, you know. I wonder if they were trying to do that to have some parody. I guess they didn't really care because the Joker's very different in this than the Jack Nicholson Joker.
yeah.
But you know, it's just another thing like that makes this show similar to that movie.
Yeah,
Besides, like some of the atmosphere, tone, and theme song, and the Batmobile design.
yeah. But yeah, I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah, I got really excited with Star Labs. I was like, oh, that's fun. I like that.
So Batman cross references everybody who's worked at these companies with people who went to or
We're associated with the university at all.
yeah, and we get a hit with Jonathan Crane, who has his own company,
Yeah.
which I mean that kind of goes to show like it really was all about revenge. Like he was a
Yeah.
successful dude.
Somehow, in the science of fear, he made like a pretty big living.
Yeah.
I didn't realize like what he worked for the government or something is making like biological weapons.
Yeah, I mean that.
Do you think that if he was no, because he was used in the Nolan movies. Do you think if that like in a realistic setting, like do you think that like they redid this, like they would make him something like that? Why was he making fear stuff in Batman Begins? I forget. I know Ra's al Ghul was bankrolling him so he could destroy Gotham City.
Yeah, I don't really know.
I
I need to
forget. It's
give
been a while since I've watched it.
yeah, same. I need to give it another watch.
I love that movie until Batman becomes Batman. I think it's more interesting when he's Bruce Wayne.
It is pretty cool when he's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I don't know. I loved that movie a lot. And of
I
course the
still
Dark
really like
Knight.
it. Yeah. I love The Dark Knight.
For whatever reason, it just like once Dark Knight Rises came out, I was just like it really took the like excitement out of those other two.
See, I didn't mind Dark Rises that much, or Dark Knight Rises that much, but
It feels cheap to me.
I don't know. I love The Dark Knight so much. Like I always say, it's between The Dark Knight and Batman the movie, which is my favorite Batman movie. Because like they're both kind of the extremes of what you can do tonally with Batman.
Through that.
I do think Batman the movie is more watchable.
I
It's
mean, Dark
shorter.
Knight,
It's
don't get
shorter
me
and more fun. Yeah,
Dark Knight is amazing.
yeah, it's great.
It's in no way like a bad movie. I just thought it was so good. And I think maybe we'll do Rises or something on this podcast. I don't like that movie.
I think we'll probably eventually hit up all of the Batman movies, or at least most of them, at some point.
I'm
Just because
down.
they're fun to talk about and they're a fun way to break things up.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, not Dark Knight Returns, Batman Returns last year for Christmas because it's a Christmas movie and it was the 30th anniversary. Maybe we'll get an anniversary of one of the Nolan movies and we'll talk about those.
Back at Scarecrow's hideout,
I was supposed to say Stately Scarecrow Manor.
he walks in. This is the first time we really get to see his adult face, which looks just like his child face.
Yeah, he just grew up, like he got stretched out.
His head is huge for his
Yeah,
body.
I was gonna say it doesn't make sense how he fits in his costume.
I mean,
Uh,
I'll take artistic licenses.
I'm okay with it.
Um, he's pissed because like he didn't get the revenge he wanted, and he was so close. He almost got away with it.
Wasn't for that meddling Batman.
Anyway, he hears a hiss somewhere, and he sees that his canisters of fear gas are just open, releasing into his room.
Yeah,
I really like this scene.
yeah, it's a good scene.
So he turns them off and he's like, he immediately knows like something's up. And like he knows that Batman's there. So he like even imagines a giant bat. And then Batman is just like walking towards him. Like, and this I think is in the real world. But
Hmm.
like Batman's just like walking towards him like really slowly and menacingly.
Yeah,
And then just like picks him up by the collar and is just like shaking him.
but he sees him as a giant monster.
Yeah, like the
He looks like
fucking
Chernobog from
yeah,
Breaking. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I was gonna point out that it turns him into Chernobog. Yeah, it, I don't know. It's cool.
I like that scene because
Yeah,
it's just like Scarecrow isn't
he's not a physical threat.
yeah. So it's fun to like turn his own thing against him. And Batman didn't even need to do that. He
Yeah,
was
he could have
just
just
being an
rolled up and
asshole.
yeah.
Um,
I think giving a taste of his own medicine is a good move on that. It's also like Batman's not afraid anymore. Like in the shows that like even the Master of Fear of Scarecrow is like also got fears and is afraid of stuff.
yeah.
You know.
Uh back at police headquarters, a sentence I usually say at
Yeah. As
the 60s show.
soon as you said that, I was like, I like broke my brain for a second. I was like my head went to Gordon's and Chief O'Hara in that office set.
uh well, instead of Gordon and O'Hara, we get Gordon and Bullock. And
Yeah.
Bullock is like, yo, fuck Batman. He's
Yeah.
in on the thing. And he's like, I'll eat my badge if he
Yeah.
turns out to be a good guy.
Yep.
And yeah, Batman kind of has Scarecrow up hanging from like the
He's just
office fan,
yeah.
which would just rip the office fan out of the ceiling, but whatever. It looks cool.
Yeah, and he's got a little Batman like logo pinned on him.
It's very
Like
Spider-Man.
I was gonna say your friendly neighborhood Batman, it says. Yeah.
But yeah, and then we cut to the ends,
Yeah.
which is like
But first Gordon's like, "Yeah, so about that badge.
yeah.
Pretty funny. Their dynamic is way more interesting than Chief O'Hara's and Gordon.
Oh god, I love it.
I think it's because they're two on the same side in the 60s show, which is fine for the time. But like I like that there's a bit of an adversarial thing between them. It just gives the cops a little more personality.
Definitely.
In a child appropriate way. It's not like someone's on the take and stuff, you know. We don't have to
And
deal with
like
police corruption and things, but
they're like slightly less like worthless in this show. Like they get
yeah.
episodes where they show, but like here they don't do anything.
Yeah, that's because this episode specifically is trying to talk about explore other aspects of Batman.
Yeah,
Like they don't really need to be in this as part of the story. Like if they didn't show up at all, like we wouldn't have missed anything, you know?
yeah. Just the voice actors wouldn't have gotten paid, I guess.
Yeah, I'm glad they got paid.
Or maybe they would have gotten paid for nothing. Like, I don't know how it works.
Some people get paid per episode, some people just get paid just to be on call for the season. But
Yeah.
these are like regulars. I don't think they're not guest stars, I'm sure. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, they're in pretty much every episode.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we cut to the end. Batman, who is looking, he looks so familiar, like an anime character, and I can't quite put my finger on who it
Oh,
is.
I'm not sure what you're referring to then. So
Yeah, there's just some anime character because he's wearing like this black trench coat and like black sunglasses.
oh, does you thinking the guy from Big O?
Maybe that's it.
Because
Who
I'm pretty
like,
sure that character is supposed to be based on Bruce Wayne.
yeah, no, for real.
Okay.
You're right. Maybe that's him.
Okay.
Because I was just like, who does he look like right here? And he's just like at his parents' grave, and
Puts
it's
flowers down.
like pretty dramatic ending.
Yeah, he walks away. His shadow is Batman's shadow. Which cinema sins, that doesn't make any sense. That's not how a shadow would be cast. This is a bad episode. I,
This is
I hate I hate that kind of media analysis. Obviously, it's done, stylistically to
yeah,
show that he's Batman, inside and out.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's so good. The show is so good in general.
yeah.
Um,
So you didn't seem super thrilled on it. Did you come around at all as we
not
analyzed it
not
together?
really. I found this one kind of boring. Like it's fine, but there's there's episodes of the show that are like permanently tattooed into my brain, and this one doesn't come anywhere near those. Like if it wasn't for this one, if I was going to back and like cherry pick episodes to watch, there are two Scarecrow episodes that jump out to me more. The one where he takes away Batman, like Bruce Wayne's fear. And there's the one where Batgirl dies.
Oh yeah, dang, that one was really good.
And they're both after the redesign, and he like is way scarier looking.
So he actually gets redesigned before the rest of the characters. I think he has like two appearances like this.
See, I thought he only had this one like this, because I know he gets a slightly different one where he's got more of a face in his mask, like
Yes.
teeth and like eyes and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, maybe he only gets this one cuz yeah, he very quickly like still in the first season gets a redesign. And then
Like
yeah, in like in the new adventures he kind of looks like
a Grim Reaper.
yeah, or like a Jeepers Creepers type thing.
No, it's Jeepers Creepers because that's a Scarecrow in that too. But yeah, and then becomes voiced by Jeffrey Combs, who's like a really good scary voice actor and one of my favorite character actors. Not the least of which because of all of his Star Trek roles, but he's the reanimator, so he is like unhinged and can pull that off. But yeah, like it's not bad. So there's other episodes I probably revisit before this, but I didn't hate it. I do remember Batman's hallucinations vividly from when I was a kid. Like especially the second one with his dad when like he turns into a skeleton and stuff, not the fire one. I remember that very much from when I was a kid and thinking that was really cool. Maybe I did like the I am vengeance, I am the night line when I was a kid. But like as the older I got, the more like I did not like that line.
Yeah, and it just like seems like a weird thing to like stick with.
Yeah. Oh, there was this part. Oh crap. Early on, I don't know if you got this. I forget what the line was, but like it's early when they first Scarecrow's first doing a thing, and he says like I am fear or something. It made me think he was going to launch into a Darkwing Duck like entrance.
Oh yeah, he was like, I
Like
am
I am the terror or
terror.
something. Yeah.
But it's like I'm the terror of Gotham. But
Yeah.
like,
my,
Yeah,
my brain was like, "I am the terror that flaps in the night" is like the next
yeah,
line.
that's immediately where my brain went
Yeah.
to.
um, I mean, he also uses a gas gun and stuff. So
Oh, he does suck gas, evildoer.
I love Darkwing Duck, but that's a maybe a different episode, special episode, because there's a lot
Yeah,
of Batman in that too.
yeah, it's very
And
Batman.
like as a kid, I got the parody. Like, is obviously they have a clown villain and stuff, you know. Um, ah, but yeah, it's a good episode. I'm not upset we watched it. I don't really have anything negative to say about it.
Yeah, I just thought it would be a fun, spooky one, and it's
I
one that I
and
really like.
I appreciate your nostalgic connection for it, and like any excuse to watch the show is a good one. You know.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll find plenty of excuses to go back to this well.
Oh yeah, we will. But yeah, I'm excited. I know we maybe should do Mask of the Phantasm next Halloween.
Oh, yeah, why didn't we think of it this Halloween?
I don't know. This one was we want. I think we wanted to do something a little lighter and fun. Like this is a 20-minute episode versus a movie.
True. Yeah, because I mean, after this episode, that's the one I also had on tape, you
Oh,
know?
you had that? I didn't know that was a thing until way later.
Whoa, I saw that in theaters.
I'm so jealous. I was in theaters like super quick.
Yeah, dude. I remember there's this scene where he's like running through like a building that's under construction and like the police are like shooting at him.
Yeah,
He gets like, I feel like he gets like nipped by a bullet or something and
yeah.
he's like bleeding. And I just remember like being in the theaters, like
Oh my
thinking it
god.
was the most intense thing ever.
I don't think I realized that was a thing until I got a job at Blockbuster because I think I rented it.
Oh,
I saw it. Yeah.
God, it's so good.
Yeah. It's great. It's arguably the best Batman movie.
Yeah, that's true.
It's an argument. I'm not saying that it is or it isn't, but
Yeah, I remember as a kid being like disappointed that, and like this goes for a lot of the animated series. Like I've said time and again, like Robin is like is my like favorite. Like, but like as a kid, I remember being like, oh man, Robin's not in this movie. That kind of
yeah,
sucks.
I
But
mean,
like,
because it's also telling Batman's origin.
yeah, and it's so much better for it.
Yeah,
Like so many of these episodes are like it's really cool to see Batman on his own doing
yeah.
his thing.
I mean,
Like,
that said, one of the things I like about the animated series is like Robin is around and he just is occasionally involved and is occasionally not.
yeah. And I think they like pick and choose which one he works for very well.
Because yeah, it's this one's more of like a character study on Batman slash Bruce Wayne, like an element of him. So like having Robin there, like Alfred was enough of someone he could talk to about it.
Yeah.
And and Alfred being a more mature parental figure, since his fears are parental related, makes a lot more sense to talk to than Robin
Yeah,
about.
for sure.
Because like also Alfred knew his father,
Yeah.
versus Dick Grayson didn't.
Yeah. And like, what's Dick Grayson going to say? Oh, your dad would be proud of you. Like, it doesn't carry as much weight.
Yeah, it means nothing. It's just a kid, like yeah, exactly. Not that it means nothing, but you know what I mean comparatively. Like you said, yeah, it doesn't carry as much weight. But yeah, like it's a good episode. Um, like I said, there's other ones that just stand out to me more.
Yeah.
Like in terms of general episodes and in terms of Scarecrow specific episodes.
Yeah. Well, we'll get around to more.
Yeah, like if we were just talking, like if we were to talk about the episode that was scary, it's like I said, to me it was On Leather Wings. That scared the hell out of me as a kid the first time I saw it.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe we'll talk about that next year. I don't know, but there's plenty of Halloweens.
That's true.
Knock on wood.
All right. Well, anything else we want to say about Halloween?
I mean, make sure you check your candy for like supervillain tricks and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Well, I guess with that, we'll sign off. We'll
Yeah,
see.
happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween, y'all. And
Um,
We'll see you here next time. Same Batcast time, same Batcast channel.